Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Grief Let's Talk About It podcast. I am your host, Tony Lynch. And before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that this is for educational purposes only. And as you guys know, we have some really awesome guests that come on. And today we have another amazing guest. He is my brother from another mother. We make fun of each other ever since that we known each other, right? And he's a very intelligent individual. He's an entrepreneur. He's an author. He's a guest speaker, and this man has an amazing story. And you guys will be surprised of how we connected. My today's guest is Sensei Dave, and yes, I call him Sensei Dave, and I'm gonna let him tell you the story about all of that because the man's crazy than a box of rocks. Okay, you know what I'm saying? But you guys sit back, enjoy. And if it's your first time tuning in, do me a favor, head over to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. And if you know that anyone that could benefit from these conversations, please do me a favor, share it with them. But other than that, you guys be prepared for a fun interview. All right, you know what I'm saying? This story's going to go wherever it needs to go. And bringing up my next guest, man.
What up, what up, what
up? What's going on, my brother from another mother?
Life is perfect. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm good, man. First off, I want to say thank you for joining me on the show today. And, we got some crazy stories to tell, don't we?
Yeah. Yes, we do. We
got some crazy stories to tell, man. So before we get started, man, do me a favor, introduce yourself and tell people where you're at now, currently.
All right. Well, I'm Sensei Dave Armstrong. I'm an author, motivational speaker that grew up in foster care juvenile detention centers, in and out of boys' homes and group homes until I was 18. And after I turned 18, I was homeless for a while. And then I joined the Air Force, served 24 years, got to travel all around the world. And I'm retired, but I came out of retirement to finish my book, finish another book. But I retired here in beautiful Greece about 7 years ago. So that's what I do, and that's where I am.
Man, it's ever since we've connected, man, it's been we just clicked. We just really honestly clicked.
Absolutely.
And then to tell people that we have similar background, right?
We do. Very similar background.
You grew up in boys' homes, right? You know what I'm saying? But you was also involved in the gangs as well, right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about those years of young Dave, and that craziness that happened, because we've discussed it, right? You know what I'm saying? But only what you want to share now, you know what I'm saying? But
man, I got a whole book. it says everything.
Oh my God, man.
So
yeah.
My first arrest was when I was 11 years old for armed robbery. So felony armed robbery, I get arrested at 11 years old. And if you can imagine what a kid's life is like for him to be arrested at 11 for felony armed robbery, that's the picture of how young Dave was growing up. And unfortunately, my mom was always drunk. Didn't take very good care of me. I was an only child. And I have a sister, but I don't remember her. She was much older, but I was the only one in the house at the time. And she ended up marrying a guy, Russell, that was, really abusive to her and myself. And so it drove me out of the house. So I didn't want to be around him or her. I had no reason to be in the house. I had no reason to really try to do anything right. So I started running in streets. I started running with gangs. I started, breaking in cars and smoking weed and just doing all kinds of stuff that, a 11-year-old kid shouldn't be doing. And unfortunately, she passed away when I was 12. So I was at a group home. I was sentenced to a boys' home for the armed robbery thing. And I remember Deborah Bowser, who was my social worker, comes to pick me up from school. And you remember the old intercom system in schools, you know, they go, David Armstrong.
Yep.
That was send David Armstrong to the front office, you know. David Armstrong. So, you know, I go up to the front office and I say, you know, I was always in trouble. I'm 12 years old at the time. And I said, man, you know, you know, the principal's going to hem me up for something. I'm in trouble for something now.
Right.
And I get up to the front office and they say, well, your social worker is coming to pick you up. So just sit here and wait. And there were these big windows and you can see out to the front parking lot and walkway up to the school. And I see Deborah walking up, my social worker, and I could tell that something was really off. You know, her face didn't look right. Something was really off. And so she gets up to the front, signs me out, and she says, Dave, I gotta tell you something. Your mom's in the hospital. They don't think that she's gonna be okay. So I'm taking you to go see her right now. And I remember not being able to really comprehend that she's not going to be okay. What does that mean? Like she's going to have to stay in the hospital for a little while. She's going to maybe have a cast on her leg. She broke her leg. I mean, that it didn't really process with me that she was going to die.
Right.
They didn't expect her to live. That didn't really process. So the whole drive, about an hour drive, I'm thinking the worst case versus the best case scenario. And Tony, we get up to the floor that she's on and we walk into the room that she's in, and she's hooked up to all these tubes and, you know, the monitor and the beep, 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 you know.
Yeah.
And I'm looking like, and she's unconscious, completely unconscious. And here this 12-year-old kid is looking like, what is this? This is like stuff in the movies. I don't understand this. And right then and there, she starts convulsing. She had a seizure and she's shaking, and then they come rush in and they kick us out the room, and I'm like, this is not real. You know, this is a movie. I'm just dreaming or something.
Mm-hmm.
And right after that, she had died. And she had a brain aneurysm.
Wow.
And she died. And I had no one. I had no family. I had no one to take care of me except for, you know, this abusive stepfather that I wasn't going to go to. So what do you do? Right? What do you do? How do you process that at 12 years old? Not only did my mom pass away and leave me with nothing and no one, but I don't know how my future is even going to exist. Right. What does this mean? What? And so they take me back to this boys' camp that I was sentenced to. And I ran away. This is maybe a couple of days after she had passed away. And I remember being so angry at her, so pissed off at the world, and just thinking this is not just that it's not fair. This is not right. It's not right. And so that's why I named my first book, my first autobiography, Why Me? My Fight for Life. Yeah. Is because I remember sitting underneath a bridge after I ran away and thinking, why me? Why do I have to deal with all of this stuff? Why do I have to grow up in this environment? You know, I am looking at other people and other kids, and they don't have to deal with all of this. They don't have to grow up like this. They get to have mom and dad and outings and trips and things that are going for them, and somebody to sit down with them and read to them and do homework with them and, love them.
Right.
And here I am. Why me? So Tony, as I'm sitting underneath this bridge and it's raining, I run away from this boys' camp. No, not me. No, not me in like a, not in like a, like, no, not me. I'm going to, persevere. No, not me. I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to just end it. And I think this resonates with a lot of people that are empty.
Yeah.
And see a void in front of them. And so what do you have without hope, Tony? What do you get? Nothing. Apathy.
Yeah.
If you can't see anything, any just glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel, what do you have? And so why wouldn't you just end it? End the pain, end the misery. You can't see anything getting better.
Yeah.
So as I sat underneath that bridge, that's what I attempted to do. And I remember, Tony, not succeeding and thinking, my God, I'm even not good at that.
I can relate to that.
Can you?
Yeah, I can relate, because everything that you said, man, like we've talked about this in depth too, right? You know what I'm saying? That emptiness, and I think we're both around the same age when, that emptiness came, right? You know what I'm saying? No direction, no sort of purpose, no sort of vision. Who would have thought that we sitting here right now, that this was part of it, right? You know what I'm saying? Because if you told me in here talking about
no.
I would have looked at you like you was crazy, right? You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, I would have looked at you like you was lying and probably would have punched you in your mouth for lying to me. Right? No, you ain't about to tell me none of this. Because right now, where I'm at, partner, if you could see where I'm at and the things that I'm going through, you wouldn't be saying this to me, right?
Yeah.
You'll be praying for me that, that prison be the only thing that happened to me.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you probably be praying that, hey, that kid need to be in prison somewhere, because the direction that he's going in, no. But that emptiness, man, that darkness, and such a young age to lose your mother, and again, that whole brain aneurysm thing. I think we both had that relationship, even though mine came a little bit later in life. My mom passed away from a brain aneurysm too, and I watched her pass away.
I didn't know that. We haven't talked about that. I didn't know that. Oh, wow.
We talked a little bit about it, but I didn't mention that. I think, so I kind of kept it because I didn't want to get too far into detail. Because I was like, man, you know what I'm saying? Because you told me about yours, and I was like, man, but I do remember telling you, I can relate to that in such a way, right? But yeah, my mom passed away from a brain aneurysm as well. And so it was like, man, if only you knew how much that I could relate to that, But yeah, so now you're sitting under the bridge, you know what I'm saying? You're attempting to take your life.
Yeah.
What are the steps? What's going on now with you? In that
look, I reached over, there was a beer bottle. I cracked that bottle open and I got to cutting. And it just didn't work. I didn't know how to do it right, I guess. Thank God.
I understand. I'm glad you didn't. Shoot.
Oh, I'm glad it didn't, not for me, but for the thousands of people I've been able to positively impact and help.
Right.
All the kids, all the young adults, all the adults that are inspired by me, that come to me for coaching and training. All of that wouldn't have happened if I was successful. So that's the one thing that I'm glad, amongst plenty of other failures, I'm glad I failed at that. So Yeah, I go back to the group home. Obviously, I'm all bloodied up, and then they put me on suicide watch and put me on pills, which I absolutely hated. I'll tell you a funny story. I wasn't a dumb kid, I think, but I did some dumb stuff, and so I hated being on the antipsychotic, antidepressant medication. I couldn't stand it, and so one day I decided in the middle of the night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I was going to get up, get out my room, and break into the medicine cabinet, and I was going to destroy all the meds. Well, I only destroyed Dave Armstrong's meds. And so at about 6 or 7 in the morning, they come to my room, staff and social workers, and they say, "Hey, we need to talk to you, Dave. You broke into the..." No, 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 I didn't. Me? No, 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 no. And they're like, "The only person's meds that are gone are yours." I said, "Oh man, okay. I guess you got it."
I did.
Oh boy, but I didn't like that stuff, man. I didn't like the medication at all. But you know, uh, the time was up there, and that started my journey of going through dozens upon dozens of group homes and boys' homes, and then juvenile detention centers, and then the cycle would go again: group homes, boys' homes, juvenile detention centers. I was always doing something to get me kicked out of somewhere. Um, but it worked out, it worked out.
Now, at what age did you begin your gang affiliation? Because we talked about this too, right? I think we both shared a lot of the
Yeah,
same
I
stories.
was 11. I got jumped in when I was 11. Yeah.
Okay, so you was pretty young as well.
Oh yeah, I was a baby, man. 11 years old, dude. I was 11 years. I could barely hold a gun, man. The thing was,
Shoot the gun. Ow, nope. You might want to be careful.
shoot my toe
Oh,
off, man. Yeah.
oh man. I don't think people really understand that, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've talked about my gang affiliation with the Crips, and nor do I glorify it. I really don't. Just like yourself, I'm pretty fortunate to have walked there, have the experience. But I tell everybody that I talk to now, especially these young guys that are looking to get into the gangs and things like that. Look, man, um, I'm gonna tell you the one thing that's true about this: the way that you come in through that pain, being jumped in, is what you're going to feel every step of the way. And
Yeah.
if you make it to an age to where you can walk away from this thing unscathed, and what I mean by unscathed, you know what I'm saying, not dead.
Relatively. Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And that's the reality of it, right? You know what I'm saying? If you can walk away from it not dead, you have to deal with the PTSD that comes along with it. If
Yeah.
you're not spending the rest of your life in prison, now you have to redefine yourself as the individual that you are, man or woman. You have
Yep.
to redefine yourself. You have to figure out who you are.
Yep.
Then from there, you're going to have to walk the path of forgiveness, not for everyone else, because the lifestyle has no rules, it has no promises or guarantees.
Yeah. It
But you're
doesn't.
going to have to forgive yourself for everything that you've ever done in the name of your game. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? And that's going to be the hardest part. That's going to be the hardest part that you will ever do. You know what I'm saying? It's guaranteed that you are going to go to jail at some point.
Mhm.
It's guaranteed that you will be shot at.
Mhm.
And here's the harsh reality: it's guaranteed that you're going to lose a lot of your friends.
Oh yeah. 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 Those are guarantees.
Yeah,
You know,
those are
I,
good.
I, I want people, whoever's listening this, if you work with youth that are gang affiliated, I've said this in other settings when I'm on stage speaking and when I have done other podcasts. What are you providing other than a young man or a young woman joining a gang? And so we join gangs because A, our home environments are not what they should be. B, we have absolutely zero structure at home. C, we want to belong. We want to belong. Every single person on this planet has that one innate thing. They want to belong. And so if you don't belong at home with your own family, if you don't belong at school, and you end up walking out that door, and your boy down the street, your neighbor down the street, he's in a gang, she's in a gang, and you belong when you're around them, that's where you're going to gravitate to. Mm-hmm. And so what are we as adults, healthy, adjusted adults? What are we as parents and social workers, everyone that's working with our youth, providing our youth as an alternative to running the streets, to joining a gang, to robbing people, to stealing, to shooting? What are we providing? Are we trying to get them to figure out the things that they like, to find that one, that two, that three why within themselves? Why? What's your why? And so if you have zero why, if you have zero reason to study hard because you're really good at math, zero reason to practice the guitar because you're really good at the guitar, zero reason to practice football, zero reason to invest your time into something that's meaningful, your why. If you have zero, you've never been exposed to your why. A lot of us grew up never being exposed to stuff, to our why.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I go run the streets? Why wouldn't I join a gang? Why? I have no alternative.
That's very true. You know, the one thing, man, when I got into the gangs, I was a battle dog, right? My whole entire life, I just knew how to fight. I whether if it's, you know what I'm saying, I knew how to survive. And I knew how to survive in a way that was untraditional to most people, except for the people that I knew around me, right? And I gravitated because gangs were a way for me to be violent without getting in trouble. At least not to, you know what I'm saying, to the adults, but now to the police. If the police caught you, you know what I'm saying, of course, you know, you got to deal with that whole set of trouble right there, right? But I was even violent towards them. If they gave me half the opportunity, I was knock them out and roll about my way.
Tony, let me tell you, this is in my book. I don't know if you remember it, but so we were running around breaking into cars one morning, right? Me, Reno, and Eddie. I'll never forget them. So we get up in the morning, we're not gonna go to school, we're gonna go breaking into cars, right? So we run around the neighborhood breaking into cars, trying to get whatever change, whatever stuff, radios and stuff we see loose in the car. So we get to breaking in, and one dude comes out from the apartment complex and starts chasing us. So we break, oof, and he goes to chase Eddie, and me and Reno break the other way. We're walking, and so about 5-10 minutes later, something like that, we're walking down a major street, right? Huge street. And there's a bunch of car dealerships on one side of the street. And we see Eddie with this dude and the police, right? Inside the car dealership. And you know, because you can see inside with all the glass, right? You can see inside. Yeah. Me and Reno like, oh man, all right, let's just do one of these. You know, we're gonna walk by. Man, Eddie did one of these numbers.
Oh, he sweating you out. Dude was sweating.
Terrible. So we broke and jumping over fences and all this, right? Backyards, cops catch us. One cop, boom, all right, we're got. Interlock your hands. All right, all right, all right. Hands on the car. So he goes to handcuff Reno first. And my hands are on the car. He putting him in the car. I'm out.
I'm done. I'm not waiting around.
I break, man. They couldn't catch me for nothing. I'm gone. I go hide in an abandoned apartment complex up on the top floor. I hear them running around. They trying to find me. They could not find me. I got away. Go kick it with my boys for a little while. Then at night, I go back home. And as I'm walking up to the little, it was in a duplex, right? And as I'm walking up to the duplex, we're in the middle. There's the first house, second house, third house. We're in the second house. As I'm walking past the first house, somebody come behind me and pick me up like this and put me down like that. It was the cop that I ran from.
He was done playing with you.
He ain't gonna ever get somebody to do that again. I could only imagine how embarrassed he was. Oh, some kid run from you like that, and you couldn't catch him. Blah blah blah. So he was mad, man.
Oh, I
He
bet.
was mad. And he roughed me up a little bit, and then took me to juvenile detention center.
Oh,
Fingerprint.
man.
But yeah, that was a funny story, man.
Man, I'm over here dying, right? You know what I'm saying? This, like, I wish I would have had that, right? I really wish I would have had that, but unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? When I remember the first time, right? The first time the cop gave me the option, and I had just got into it with some other gangbangers, right? You know what I'm saying? I went over to the hood. We didn't get along, you know what I'm saying? Because I was a trade, it was an O, you know what I'm saying? And so just for everybody's reference, I used to be a Fortray Avalon, right? Crip. And so we didn't get along with certain Crips, which, you know what I'm saying, 6-0s, 20s, things like that. And the people that I really didn't get along with was the 6-0s. And they just happened to be in an area that I was in. Now, granted, maybe I walked over there, maybe I didn't, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm just not going to put two and two together for you, right? You know what I'm saying? But let's just say they was in their hood, and I just happened to be in the area. I had really devious intentions. I'm being honest. So I go over there. I'm watching them from across the street because where their hood was across the street was this big old field, and on the back side of it was this drive-through theater that had been shut down for a while. So now I'm over there in the shadows. I'm watching, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm about ready to get you. Y'all don't even know, right? What I didn't know, across the street at the VA hospital that was being built, the cops was watching me, right? So they just scoped me out and everything. So now I have an opening, you know what I'm saying? There's probably about 15, 16 of them out there. I'm like, I'm about to go over here. I'm about to let loose. And I did. I go over there. I let loose. You know what I'm saying? I'm running all through their neighborhood, just causing all kinds of stuff, windows, all kinds of stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? So now I'm taking off. And I'm heading back to the field, right? You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to have time to regroup themselves, and I don't need to be in this neighborhood by the time they do. You know what I'm saying? Element of surprise. So I take off. I hit the street. I hit to the field. I'm running. And the cop said, freeze. So at the same time, now I'm stopping. I done slid, you know what I'm saying? I done slid on the ground. And as I slid on the ground, I threw the gun. You know what I'm saying? So I threw the gun over in the trees. So, you know what I'm saying? I figure if he's going to catch me, you're not going to catch me with the gun. You know what I'm saying? Because, well, there's been damage done with this now. You know what I'm saying? You can't link me to it. Right? So I get it. I remember there was two cops, Batman and Robin is what we used to call them. Right?
Okay.
Crazy names. So now I'm sitting there, you know what I'm saying? The cop goes, "Oh, you think you bad, huh?" So at that time, you know what I'm saying, I was a different Tony, you know what I'm saying? Long hair, I was that dude, right? Skinny, just with an attitude, violent as all get out. The cop said,
Mm.
you think you bad shit right now?" I said, "No, not really." He goes, "Well, we just watched what you did." And the cop goes, "Have you ever been in trouble before?" I said, "No, not up until this moment." And the cop looked at me. He goes, "Oh, you fresh meat out here then?" So you just for a formal introduction, you know what I'm saying? I'm such and such, this such and such over here. This is my partner.
Mm.
You're gonna get the meat, you're gonna get to know us a lot more, right? But in
Mm.
this moment right here, so we got a foul on you. You know what I'm saying? You just never been caught, you know what I'm saying? But we do have a foul on you. We have a foul on all game members. I said, okay. He goes, but I tell you what, if you can whoop my ass, we will let you go. I did like this. He goes, since you think that you know what I'm saying, Mr. Billy Badass, we've seen you fight before, this, that, another. If you can whoop my ass, I'll let you go. I said, really? Okay. So I'm looking at now, what he don't know is that I am very strategic and I'm watching him. He begins to undo his belt. And when that belt comes off, I reach over. Bam! He goes, his partner went to go grab me. I hit him with the left hand. He falls
All
down
right.
on top of his hood. I take off across the street and I'm timing it just right. As I'm running across the street, the bus is coming. I jump on the bus and I leave.
Okay.
I'm gone. I'm out, right? I see those cops 3 days later. And I'll tell you the payback that they gave me. You've heard about them alley rides, right? And people always thinking that I play when I'm saying this, right? I was like, no, the cops used to take us on alley rides. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they beat you up in the back of the car before they put those gates up there. They reach back
Yep.
there, beat you up, drop you
Yep.
off over in rival neighborhoods. Some people made it back, some people didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That was the nature of the game. But you know what I'm saying? They take me on this alley ride. They beat me up in the back of the seat. Now we're in the alleyway. They pull me out of the car. They handcuff me to the grill of their vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm sitting on the ground, busted up, bloody, and everything. And these two cops go to town on me, man. They're just whooping me all kinds of way, right? You know what I'm saying? And when they get done, I'm such a smart ass, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm such a smart ass. They let me go. I fall down to the ground, and I get up and I look at them. I said, "That's all you bitch ass motherfuckers got." What's the one took over?
You beat me up.
Y'all beat me up. You know what I'm saying? It took two of y'all to beat me up. It took one of me to knock both of you motherfuckers. So, you know, take it off. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I go back to the hood. I'm busted up like nobody's business. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to my buddies. They was like, "Hey, screwball." So that's what they used to call me. Hey, screwball. My man, you need some ice or something?
You need some ice.
You need some ice or something? I said, no, I'm good. They was like, man, your leg looks like you got beat up with 4 or 5 baseball bats and you're bloody all over the place. I was like, I'm good. So I washed up and everything. I'm looking at myself like, oh man, this is not good. This is not good.
I need some ice.
Yeah, man. It was hilarious, man. I laugh. I look back on it now because I survived those incidents. There, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for those who didn't survive, you know what I'm saying? My heart goes out to their families and things like that because we come from a time where most people didn't survive these things, man. And people don't understand the gratitude or the depthness of that lifestyle or the era that we grew up in. We grew up in a different time zone, right? You know what I'm saying? Different time. But man, I remember stories like that, man.
For real.
I've been beat up before and dropped off over in rival neighborhoods, and people are like, "Oh man, that's boys." Remember that scene in what was it? Menace to Society. Yeah. So you remember that scene where old dude got beat up and they dropped him over in the SA hood, right? You know what I'm saying? And he was like, "Man, they dropped me off, but the essays was cool though. They, you know what I'm saying? They got me to a place." Well, look, man, I've been dropped off over in Daimler Hood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
rival Crip Hood and things like that. And I've been lucky so far that they was like, hey man, we're gonna get you, but this is not the way that we're gonna do it, right? You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
want this to be an even
Yeah.
playing field. So I've been pretty fortunate in those areas. And so they were like, we're gonna get you back to the hood. And so they gave me a pass. And in turn, you know what I'm saying, out of respect, when we caught some of them, I was like, look, since your boys looked out for me, I'm gonna look out for you. But right now, you're in a bad situation. I would advise you to take that exit over there and get on out of here. Because anything after this, I only owe you one. That's all. I only owe you one. Anything after this is fair game, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
man, oh my God. Let's talk about the times that you was homeless, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Because I can relate to that as well. Breaking in abandoned buildings.
Well,
I used to break it to people's cars, right? Just to have a place to sleep. Yeah,
really?
yeah, dude. Oh, dude, I was real good. So I went from robbing people for their cars, you know what I'm saying, systems and things like that, the rims, whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? Hey, break yourself. We're gonna do our thing. To when I was homeless, when my homeboys turned their back on me the first time, I went from selling dope, making all kinds of money, to losing everything when I went to jail the first time, getting out and trying to get back up on my feet, and no one looked out for me. No one, right? You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, all the rest of the stuff that came along with it.
Yeah.
I remember when the reality, I was in a bad way, right? I began to drink at that time, so alcoholism began to play a factor in it. You know, the homies, they didn't hang out with me too much after that, you know. And I remember sleeping behind dumpsters, you know what I'm saying? The same people that I looked out for was the same people that turned their back on me. Then I used to, you know what I'm saying? when it got real bad outside, or rain and the snow and the hail and stuff like that, I used to go break in the back of people's cars, slide up in the back seat, sleep for a little bit, get up right before the sun was coming up, and dip out, close the door. They never even knew I was there.
Really?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was rough. It was pretty gnarly, man. You know what I'm saying? A hell of an experience, you know. But that was one of many. I've been homeless 18 times, you know, so that was just one of many. Let's talk about your experiences going through the homeless stage.
Man, I'll tell you, I'm really lucky. So the truth is, I work with a lot of organizations that work with youth that are in foster care or youth that are in juvenile detention, and a lot, over 50%, will end up homeless before they're 23 years old.
Right.
And the problem is, especially back then in the 90s, early 90s, 92, 93, we didn't have good systems set up for our youth that are in foster care as they aged out. So as they became adults and graduated high school, we didn't have a lot of systems in place for them to succeed after getting kicked out of the system. Right. And so what ended up happening is I got kicked out of the system. I aged out. I was 18, graduated high school, and didn't have a lot of skills, didn't have a lot of direction. I was on a good path mentally. I was trying to do some good stuff, and I knew that I wanted to do something with my life, and I wasn't banging. I was still smoking a little bit, but I was trying to be okay. But it's hard to be okay or really defy your entire environment when you're still in your environment, right? When you're still around that, it's really difficult to not, and I don't even want to call it peer pressure. It's just what's normal to you, right? You normally go hang out on the corner. You normally sell dope. You normally smoke. You normally just do all this stuff. And to break that habit, even though like you're not banging anymore, you're still trying a little bit to be okay, it's still really difficult. It's difficult for our youth to be able to defy their surroundings, right?
Right.
They wake up to and they're engulfed in every single day. And so I'm 18. I have not, no real prospects, but I want to do something in life. And I ended up having a mentor that was appointed to me by the state. And this guy changed my life. He saved my life. And so I support these organizations when I go speak on stage and do trainings. It's usually for organizations that are affiliated with youth mentoring or youth that are in foster care group homes. And I'm so supportive of that because I know what one person can do for a kid growing up without a lot of things in his or her corner. Right? One person can really change somebody's life. And I know. And so Ron was my one person. He was appointed a mentor by an organization. And I ended up wanting to join the Air Force. And I did join the Air Force and served 24 years because of that one person. He was in the Air Force. He was a pilot. He would show me all kinds of little trinkets at his house from all over the world. And that really enticed me, that mesmerized me to think like there's a big world outside of like this environment that I'm waking up in every day that has all of these things, a gondola in Italy or the Parthenon in Greece. And I'm like, wow, I really want to go see these places thanks to Ron. And so I turn 18 and they say, thanks for playing, bye. And I'm like, well, where do I go? What now? My foster parents are like, well, we're not getting any more money for you. So, have a good one. And luckily, my girlfriend at the time, her parents let me stay with them in a trailer. So they had this huge field and some junk cars and trailers in the back. And that's where I stayed, in a trailer. If I had electricity, if it didn't rain, because I was, boosting extension cord to extension cord to extension cord all the way to the house.
Yeah.
But you gotta unhook that if you're going in, right? And so it was rough. But I had a roof. I had a place over my head, which I feel so grateful for. I didn't have to go sleep in bars. And it was 6 months. I had to wait 6 months to retest to get into the military. So to get into any branch, you have to take something called an ASVAB, Armed Services Vocational Battery Test. And it's basically an aptitude test, but you have to score high enough to get into the military. Each branch has their own cutoff, and the Air Force's cutoff was higher than the other branches. So I took the ASVAB right before I graduated high school. I didn't score high enough to get in the Air Force. And so my plan was to graduate and then go to boot camp and then have a job, and they were going to put me in a dorm or a house or something, and that was going to be it. I was going to be okay. But when I didn't score high enough on the ASVAB, I had to wait 6 months before I could take it again. And so 6 months I had to sleep in this trailer. 6 months I had to stay away from my homies. I couldn't smoke. I couldn't drink. I couldn't get into any trouble. I had to just leave all that stuff aside and focus on the end result, my end goal. Like I needed to get in the Air Force. And I was hungry for that because A, I wanted to see the world, but B, I didn't have another option, not a viable one, right? Do what every OG is doing. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to sell and be there anymore. I knew that, right? I knew that. And so I studied every day, and I had the worst job I'll ever have. I did heating and air conditioning, HVAC, and I was nailing these big ducts like this all the time, right? warehouses. And it was so hard, man. My shoulders were hurting all the time, you know. And I knew working that, I knew that I wasn't, even though I'm big, I wasn't built for that.
Right.
I wasn't built for that kind of music. Not I. But you know, I retested and I passed and I was able to join the Air Force and see my dream come to fruition. And you know, that really is a testament to being resilient and focused, right? Not giving up. And I know it sounds so cliche because that's what everybody says, but it's so easy when we're tempted around everything, right? Everything around us is tempting us to sit on the couch, to eat that crap, to just play video games, to not go on that walk, not go to the gym, not write, not do what you need to be doing, right? If you have your whole life tempting you to do the wrong thing, and that's how it's set up, of course you're going to stray from your goal. Of course, we're human, right? We're not flawless. And so trying to eliminate those temptations, I think, is the message that I can send out here is, you know, if you know that you need to lose some weight because your health is at risk, don't have the junk food in the house. Just don't have it in the house. You never buy it. You just don't do it, because we know that if it's in the house and you get a little sweet tooth, you're going to go and you're going to eat that cake, right? And so by not letting things tempt you, you eliminate those things that are around you that are consistently going to tempt you. And that's what I did. And I think that a lot of people can relate to that, and as well as learn from that, you know, take that into whatever part of life that they're trying to improve. You know, eliminate those temptations, because we don't need to mentally struggle whether or not we're going to give in to them.
I definitely relate to that, man. I wish I had the mental strength, you know what I'm saying? Because I did take the ASVAB and I scored higher on every last one of them, right? Because I come from my family was all military, right? You know, they was like, hey, get into the military, you know what I'm saying? Get a career, this, that, and another. And I was like, okay, you know, so here I am, you know, before I got expelled out of school, you know, my uncle took me down. He was a sergeant in the Army. He was like, I'm taking you down. We're gonna get you set up to at least take the ASVAB, right? You know what I'm saying? Be a place that way, you know what I'm saying? You're young enough right now. You still got schooling. You know what I'm saying? You got time. I went down there and I passed the first one. Then I told him, I said, can I go and take all the rest of them? He was like, really? I was like, yeah, I just want to see, you know, whichever one I qualify for, that's the one I want to do. Right.
Yeah.
So and I took all of them, you know what I'm saying? And I scored so high in each and every last one of them that they were like, hey, when you get out of high school, come to this branch. We, you know what I'm saying? We can put you in as this. We go through boot camp, you get out of boot camp, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now my dumb ass, right? You know what I'm saying? Now knowing this, I am bragging to my mother. When I get out of high school, I'm gonna go into, I'm gonna do this, that, and other. My mom was like, "Oh, so you think you Mr. Billy Badass?" I was like, "Well, I've already got. You got to remember, I got uncles that are training me how to do hand-to-hand combat already." Okay. You know what I'm saying? So now, here's where things took a real bad turn of events. I ended up shooting a guy at school. I ended up shooting two guys at school.
All right.
I ended up shooting two guys. And what had ended up happening, you know what I'm saying? One day I was sitting out there, some guys came over and they were like, hey, you know, talking all kinds of mad, crazy to me. And one of the guys he had told me, he goes, if I see you out here again, I'm gonna kill you. So I came out there the next following day, you know what I'm saying? And I got a gun on me. No one knew. So they came over, just like clockwork, talking mad, crazy to me yet again. Now the school bell is ringing and they go to walk off. And so now me being the guy that I am at the time, I go, hey, didn't you tell me yesterday if you saw me out here that you was going to kill me? He was like, yeah. I said, okay. So I pulled out the gun, and when he saw me pull out the gun, the guy was
What's
like,
that?
"Oh!" I was like, "Pow, pow, pow, pow." You know, I ended up shooting the guy in the stomach twice. Another guy I shot him in his back and in his hip. And the other dude was running, and I was going to go chase him to go down. You know what I'm saying? I was going to draw down on him, and I turned around because as I'm going now, the two dudes are laying on the ground. I'm going to go through and I'm going to finish them off. I'm going to do what I got to do, right? You know what I'm saying? That was the mentality that I had. And as I'm walking up to these dudes, I heard a scream, and I turned around and it's the teacher. So I'm thinking to myself, well, I can't let her go. I chased the supervisor to the building. My sister was young enough, was young enough, she probably don't even remember, but she probably know I got expelled out of school. She just probably did. She probably thought it was just because I brought a gun to school. No, it wasn't. So I chased the teacher. Not a problem. I chased the teacher, and we get back. She runs into school, she closes up the door, calls the police come. Freaking grandma and mother shows up first.
Serious?
To me and everything. But it was a fun time. So now
It was a fun time. I kept this dude, you know, but it was fun. It was cool. Oh,
but you know,
break up the monotony of the day sometimes.
Yeah. There's something wrong with you, like I told
you. Know, you wake up one day, you're like, man, I don't feel like the Wheaties. I feel like having some food. So that's what's up.
You know, it was a different time. You know, I look back on it now, and that's why I use that phrase. It was a fun time, but we both know, man, the consequences that come along with that. You know, expelled from school, all kinds of things. I go to Job Corps. You know, 2 years in life just took me on that journey. You know, but now, you know, saying as we begin to wrap this thing up. Now you did 24 years in the military. You get out of the military. What is the next steps for Dave? You know what I'm saying? And
so my big plan, Tony, was I'm gonna retire. I own some martial arts schools. I did some good stuff with some money. I'm gonna retire and not work anymore. Right? I'm good. I'm done. I'm straight. Dave is straight. And I was stationed here in Greece in 2011. And while I was here, I met my current wife. And I had no intentions of falling in love. I had no intentions of getting married. We were just hanging out, having fun, but I fell in love with her. And she owned a gym. She owned a Pilates studio. And one day I'm looking at her, I said, Vasiliki, that's her name. Yo, look, I think I'm in love with you. I don't know what to do about that, but I'm feeling you. But I knew I was leaving. I was going to go to Portugal from here. Mm-hmm. So I asked her, I said, hey, look, you know, do you want to come with me to Portugal? I don't know where it's going to go from there. I know you got your family here. I know you got your Pilates studio, but you know, if you're in love and you want to sell that and just leave for a couple of years and see. And I said, look, if we end up getting married, I promise you, I'm going to come back here to Greece. I absolutely loved Greece. It was just perfect here. Right. And so she said, okay, I'm going to, you know, take a leap of faith and see what happens. And so that's what happened. We left here to Portugal for a couple of years, Portugal to Baltimore, DC area for a couple of years. I retired, came here. And after I retired, I said, I'm just going to kick it. I live in a perfect place now. Go hit the beach, have mojitos every day, just chill, right? This is life. And brother, 2 years in, I was like, you know, I miss helping people. Miss it. I miss giving everything that I've overcome, all the knowledge acquired, all the schooling to other people. I missed it. And so I said, you know, I'm going to come out of retirement and just work a little bit. So I opened up the life coaching business, Unlimited Potential Network. And then from there, I started I went to school and got a degree in psychology with the emphasis in life coaching at 46. And I know everybody that's watching, they're going like 46. What, he looks like he's 25, and I agree. I agree. No problem at all. So, so I I went and did that, and then I said, oh man, I want to do more. So I started motivational speaking business. So now I go around, I go back and forth to the States and speaking with youth that are in corrections and juvenile detention, and then helping nonprofits connect with their donors and potential donors so they can get more money to do the things that they want to do to serve our youth and our communities. And then just recently I started really coaching people individually, one-on-one, and helping them write books, because I wrote both of the books, From Gang to Degrees, and then Why Me, My Fight for Life. And then I got a couple of positive words coloring books for kids, one in Greek and one in English. So I retired, and then just I couldn't stay retired. I couldn't sit still. And now I'm working on my fifth book, I guess. Yeah, fifth book. Which will be out next year. And so things, I don't know, man, I'm blessed. They've been really, really, really good. And I just love, I love getting up and being able to do what I do every day. And that's what, when I'm coaching people and I'm trying to help them, coaching, mentoring people, I'm trying to help them live a life to where they just get to wake up and do the things that they love to do instead of exist. A lot of us, hate our jobs, hate our family, hate our wives or husbands. We're living this life where we're just not complete and not happy, and we don't know how to make or create our happiness, right? And so, helping people create that happiness in their environment and themselves is important. And I think that when we all can be happy, we're all helping each other much more. We're all more productive in life and in this big, beautiful world, right?
Yeah. Dave, thank you for being on the show, man. You know what I'm saying? As we begin to wrap this thing up, man. You know what I'm saying? I knew it was going to be a fun time with us anyway. We always have a blast, man. And, like, such a treat. And I just want to thank and still thank Pratima for introducing us. You know what I'm saying? As you see, this is what is blossomed from what you did. This is on you, girl. It ain't on us no more. This is on you.
It's really nice. It's nice, Tony, to connect with people, right? And I feel like as we ramp up 2023, ramp down 2023, and we enter 2024, we are bombarded with social media and advertising and people that are totally fake, and everyone trying to get our attention. And we forget the things that actually matter in life, right? So connecting with people and having conversations that are not necessarily guided towards work or business or profit or getting something from someone. Sometimes it's just nice, not sometimes, it's always nice to just have a conversation, right? Just talk to people. And, if that matures into something great. If it doesn't, we've given our time and we've received someone else's time. And boy, that matters, right?
It does, man. It does.
Yeah, I love you, man. I love you, Tony. I love who you are and what you do and how authentic, which is a weird thing to be saying to people. You hear this nowadays, right? Oh, she's so authentic. He's so authentic. Be your authentic self. And it's like, well, wait a minute. What else is there?
Right.
What else is there? you're not showing up as you? Is that what millions, if not billions of people are doing day in, day out? Not waking up as them?
Yeah.
Wow. That's sad to me, right? That's really sad. Because you can't be happy or complete. You can't truly be happy or be truly complete in life if you're not showing up as you.
That's very true, brother. That's very true. But brother, I know you got to run.
All
I
right.
want to say, brother, thank you for your time today. I'm going to be booking some more time slots with you, so we're going to talk. But if I don't talk to you before the holidays, my brother, you know what I'm saying? You have an awesome holidays. You and the wife,
You too.
and you know what I'm saying? Make sure you tell the wife to give you a couple of throw punches for me, and when you get out of line, right? You know?
All right, brother. Thanks so much, man. Happy holidays to you and yours too, man.
All
I
right,
love
brother.
you.
Until next time, I love you, man, and looking forward to speaking to you more, man. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we'll chat.
All right.
Peace. Bye, everybody.
See you later. To everyone out there, if you guys have tuned in, do me a favor. If you love these sort of conversations, do me a favor, head over to the YouTube channel, but go and check out Sensei Dave's YouTube channel as well. Make sure you give him subscribe. Let him know that let him know that Tony sent you over there. Give him a hard time for me as well, please. You know what I'm saying? But also go check out my YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? If you want to support it, subscribe to it, leave a comment, share with someone that you think could benefit from these conversations. And until next time, this is a conclusion to another episode of Grief Let's Talk About It podcast. And until next time, you guys keep your head up, keep it smiling, and happy holidays to you. Peace.